Coming up, the rising price of insulin. We tell you how Iowa's combating the high price.
And later, will student government cut funding for KRUI? We'll tell you the answer coming up.
A couple Big Ten titles earned these two Hawkeyes some recognition.
More on that coming up in sports.
Iowa City is finally catching the break it deserves. Find out more on weather.
All that and more is coming up on this Wednesday, March 13th edition of DITV.
So don't click away, it's all starting now. Good morning and thank you for tuning in. I'm Kaylin Clubb.
And I'm Becca Scatted. We have a lot to cover today and we'll start with our top story.
For those who use insulin, the price has more than one cost. With more, we have Daily Iowan reporter Julia Shanahan in the newsroom. Good morning, Julia.
Good morning.
So Julia, how much have insulin prices increased in the last decade?
The average price of insulin has increased nearly 200% from 2002 to 2013, according to a report from the American Medical Association. But in brand name insulin vials like Humulin, insulin manufactured by company Eli Lilly, some of those insulin prices have increased nearly 500% over the last 9 years.
And then if this is happening, is there anything on a state or federal level going on to address this issue?
Yes, there are bills in the Iowa House and the Iowa Senate that would allow a patient to receive an emergency supply of insulin without a prescriber's authorization. On the federal level, Iowa Senator Chuck Grassley chaired a hearing in the Senate Finance Committee with 7 pharmaceutical manufacturers to address the rising prices.
So then why is it more important that the prices get lowered?
I spoke with the mother who lost her son because he was rationing his insulin. I spoke with diabetic college students who worry about graduating and obtaining good health care so they can continue to afford insulin. The bottom line is that insulin is a life-saving drug, and without it, diabetics won't live. People aren't just buying prescription insulin over the counter and misusing it.
And for more on Julia's story, visit dailyiowan.com. Julia Shanahan live in the newsroom. Thank you.
After being diagnosed with any type of cancer, one's life will drastically change. Earlier this month, the Cancer in Iowa report estimated that there are increases in cancers such as throat or melanoma due to HPV. HPV is also responsible for cervical cancer and is the only HPV-related cancer that is able to be screened for. HPV-related cancers are said to account for more deaths than diseases that children are made to get vaccinated for, and it is the most commonly sexually transmitted disease in the U.S. It can be prevented through a vaccine that is most effective between the ages of 9 and 11. For more on the cancer report, you can read Kelsey Harrell's story in today's edition of the Daily Iowan.
And on Tuesday, over 50 college coaches, officials, and celebrities were charged with fraud. The college admissions scam is the largest ever of its kind. With 50 defendants across 6 states, millions of dollars were illegally being funneled. Essentially, the fraud was being conducted to get students into some of the country's most prestigious schools. This includes changing test scores and financial bribery. It is being reported that the ringleader of the scam is allegedly William Singer, the owner of a college counseling service called Key Worldwide. He accepted allegedly $25 million in bribe for several years to guarantee students placement in elite schools.
John decided to change his plea today to guilty. He is remorseful, apologizes to his family, Stanford University staff, alumni. I would like to note he is the only coach in the country who did not accept bribes for himself. Every dollar that he accepted was provided to Stanford University and benefited the sailing program. The other coaches did pocket money for themselves and their own personal gain. He did not.
Like if you know people or you have the money, you can get in anywhere. It's a little upsetting that a lot of kids who probably are qualified to get in can't now because of things like this, so it's a little sad that it can happen at a school, especially a good one like USC.
Actresses Lori Loughlin and Felicity Huffman are among the dozens of wealthy parents being charged in the admission scam. Several universities have released statements stating that they are cooperating fully with the investigation.
Mighty Earth, a worldwide organization centered around environmental preservation, has announced their Iowa City sector will be focusing on political involvement. So far, members of the group have been attending events for 2020 political candidates Eric Swalwell, Cory Booker, and Elizabeth Warren to encourage environmental change. Mighty Earth plans on advocating for sustainable solutions while claiming to be cautious of certain political views in the process.
Kind of a crazy day, Becca. I was able to go outside in a rain jacket rather than a snow jacket.
Absolutely. I am loving this weather, Kaylin, but it's obviously just in time for us to get moving for spring break. But hopefully we can enjoy the next couple days. We'll toss over to Abby in the weather studio to find out more.
Well, ladies, you are correct. The past few days have been a lot better than prior weeks. But Iowa City has been having these nice weather these past couple days. The sun has come out and the snow we all love so much has started to melt away. Thankfully, this week does hold even more good news. As for this rainy morning, we're looking at a 90% chance of rain all afternoon, but the high reaching a comfortable 56 degrees. Tonight, we will see that rain start to slow down, but there's still a 50% chance of that persisting all the way throughout the night, where the low is going to drop to 50 degrees. On to the extended forecast. Thursday is going to be in those 50s again with a high of 53 and a 70% chance of some light rain developing in the afternoon with higher gusts of wind and a low of 31. Friday is going to be slightly chillier, but a high of 38 and just a little bit more dry than the past couple days. Just some clouds in the sky and the low dipping below freezing at 26 degrees. Saturday, we see that sun come out again with the high hitting 41 degrees and the low going down to 30 with some clouds that night. And Sunday, we're keeping that sun around for just a little bit longer with a little more clouds with the high at 45 and the low going down to 28. We'll wrap up this extended forecast with Monday, which is going to have partly cloudy skies all day and a high in the upper 40s and the low around 30. Now, although the lows this week are right around that freezing line, March's warmth is undoubtedly on its way back. Back to you ladies at the desk.
Last night, UISG debated legislation that would allow KRUI, the University of Iowa's student-run radio station, funding for new equipment, which would keep their broadcast fully functioning and up to date. DITV News reporter Susanna Kloster is standing by in the newsroom to give us the full story. Susanna?
Good morning, Becca. The conversation started on Twitter last night when it was said that UISU will be voting on a bill for the funds for the KRUI radio station, which would also determine the future of KRUI. The responses poured in about KRUI and its value and impact and the community from the community. One stating, quote, "I can't even begin to describe all that I have learned about broadcasting, equipment maintenance, and music at large." At the UISG meeting later Tuesday night, directors and staff of KRUI came out to advocate for the allocation of $156,000 from the UISG contingency for the continuation of their funding. JT Ward, Assistant General Manager, and Operations Manager Shannon Mulligan spoke on the impact of KRUI and what the funding would go towards.
KRUI, as a student organization, employs over 200 people, and 140 of them are on-air staffers. So we have 60 shows, a wide breadth of shows that range from anything from Rainbow Hour, which is LGBTQ+ communities and issues and goings on within the communities, to An Hour with Diblin, which is a meditation and relaxation show. And speaking of audience, just this past year, KRUI has had 300,000 unique hits on our KRUI.FM website, which is a lot. And while I can't guarantee that all of those have come to listen to the radio, some of them have come for written articles and other such things that are on the website.
The most needed thing of all would be the studio boards. We currently have 3 studios, and the main studio is our main priority. We're considering something over the next few years. But we also need mic processors with a new digital board. Currently we have an analog board, and it is irreplaceable. We just can't replace anything on it because it's not being manufactured anymore. We also have very old computers, so old that IT cannot add it to the network drive of the campus. It is not safe because it's just too old. And that prevents us from getting any Adobe products. It prevents us from having a shared drive.
The questioning and debate period for this legislation lasted from more than an hour, and the bill was passed by the end of the night with 30 votes for, 9 against, and 3 abstaining. UISU will be paying half of the funding, $78,000 immediately to Care UI, and the other half at the beginning of the 2020 fiscal year. Becca, back to you.
Becca, we're all still celebrating women's basketball's big victory this weekend, but we've got even more news in the world of Hawkeye sports.
Absolutely, and we're going to toss it to Kate and Natalie in the sports studio with more.
Yeah, basketball isn't the only sport that the Hawkeyes are playing, but all sports have been great for the Hawkeyes. While everyone is tripping about the postseason of major sports, men's gymnastics only has a couple weeks left until Big Tens.
DITV Men's Gymnastics beat reporter Nicole Tomasic has more on leadership within the men's gymnastics team.
On the Iowa men's gymnastics team, age doesn't define leadership. Leadership is shown through individuals using their different skills and how they contribute them onto the mat.
And so you've got a healthy, inclusive, and sort of accountable team culture. And we do that right away from the recruiting process when we bring them on campus, when they sign with us, how do we bring them in? What are the sort of leadership roles that we have? And we're constantly talking about how to incorporate everyone so that they feel as though they're part of the team.
Head coach JD Reeves says it is new for the program to have freshmen step up and take ownership of their team.
Better leadership group this year. Like, they're really taking it, not without its challenges. Like, it's been hard. There's been times where this is too much. I don't know how to do this. But we've worked through it with them, and they've stepped up and they're taking ownership of the team.
Assistant coach Thomas Boozy says senior captain Jake Brodizin is an example of leadership.
Last year, he just turned on the work ethic. He wanted to make sure that he finished out his career and had no regrets, so he's coming into the gym every day and almost doing too much. We have to tell him to slow down sometimes, but just to have that determination and have that rub off on the rest of the team is what we need.
Reporting for Men's Gymnastics, this has been Nicole Tomasic with DITV Sports.
Next up for the Hawkeyes is a home meet against Ohio State this Saturday at noon.
Over the weekend, the big news in the Iowa sports world was in the Iowa women's basketball team winning the Big Ten title.
Yeah, Cade, it was an incredible experience to be there, but while in Indy, I got the scoop on how an unbreakable bond connected the Hawkeyes this season. The Iowa women's basketball team has a special bond. Could that have been the key to a Big Ten championship title?
Now, this is a bond that we'll carry with us the rest of our lives. That they will always be Big Ten champs, and we will always share this journey together. And that's something that nobody can take away from us ever.
The Hawks' motto has stayed with them since the beginning.
You know, when we got those warm-ups with family across the chest, it really kind of embodied us. And you know, another thing is our mantra is unbreakable this year. That's our mantra, and you know, we embody that every single day. We try to, and you know, it really showed how unbreakable we are as a team right now.
Senior Tanaya Davis knew this group had a special bond, especially on the court.
We just believed in each other from beginning to end. We never let up. We never got frustrated. We never lost confidence within ourselves, and I think that's very huge. That speaks to our trust and our love for each other.
Next on the schedule for the women's team is the NCAA tournament. That bracket will be released March 18th. Moving from the court to the mat, Alex Marinelli brought home another Hawkeye title by winning the Big Ten championship at 165 pounds over Vincenzo Joseph of Penn State.
Because of that upset in the title match, he was awarded USA Wrestling Athlete of the Week. But Kay, did you see that post-match interview?
Yeah, and it was hard not to get choked up when he said it was for his best friend Eli. Certainly a well-deserved honor for a great athlete and better person.
But that's all we have time for today. Guys, at the desk, back to you.
Thank you for watching today. For DITV, I'm Kaylin Cluck.
And I'm Becca Scadden. Have a great day, Iowa City. We'll see you back here tomorrow morning.